Thank you very much. The Council's had a busy day of work today, and this afternoon we did a number of items of business. Three in particular I wanted to talk about. First of all, we heard a briefing from the new Special Representative of the Secretary-General on Iraq, on the work of the UN Assistance Mission there. And there was very strong support among Council members for the important work that UNAMI is doing on a number of areas, preparation for elections, the national reconciliation, humanitarian issues, and we all look forward to extending the mandate of the UN Assistance Mission in Iraq for a further 12 months when we adopt a further resolution as we're expecting to do on Friday. Secondly, we had a briefing from the Under-Secretary-General Leroy on the recent violence in Jonglei province. And there was a lot of concern around the Council table. Members of the Council have authorised me to say that the Council members condemn these grave attacks, especially the targeting of women and children using sophisticated weaponry. The Council members appeal to all parties to protect civilian lives and to allow humanitarian relief as soon as possible to the region around Akobo. And thirdly, the Council members supported coordinated efforts by the government of Southern Sudan, by the UN mission in Sudan, and the local authorities to investigate the causes of the violence, to prevent retaliatory attacks, and to reconcile the communities. We understand that 185 people have been killed in the latest round of attacks, mainly women and children, and there is a degree of urgency now in preventing this spiral of violence which is affecting Southern Sudan, and if continued, could have a political effect on the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. Thirdly, we had a briefing from Under-Secretary-General Leroy on some of the background related to the 5 officers of the armed forces of the Democratic Republic of Congo who have been who are believed to be associated with sexual violence in eastern Congo. This was an issue first raised by MONUC, the UN mission, almost a year ago. It was an issue that the Security Council raised with Congolese ministers and with President Kabila when we were in the DRC back in May. And we are very grateful for the sustained efforts of the Congolese authorities and of MONUC to ensure that these 5 officers have been relieved of their command. 2 of them are in detention, 3 of them are under judicial control. This is important in itself, and it's important in the wider effort to root out sexual violence in the DRC and to hold accountable those members of the DRC armed forces who are involved and implicated in such sexual violence. So those are the 3 issues I wanted to brief you on. A busy day of the Council, but an important one as well. Thank you.
Mr. President, could you give us a reaction to the release of the journalists in North Korea? They were pardoned by the President there earlier this afternoon. So we'd like to see what kind of reaction to that. Whether you think that this is something that is good for North Korean relations with the rest of the world, it doesn't really get interpreted as nothing but just a show.
Well, this is not a matter which was discussed by the Security Council today. I can say in my personal capacity as the British ambassador that obviously we welcome the release of these 2 journalists. We're glad that former President Clinton's initiative to go to Pyongyang has brought about success. The lack of cooperation between North Korea and the international community has been a very long-standing problem, and obviously this is a welcome step that these two journalists have been released. I think it's probably too early to read anything more into this at this stage, but it is an important and welcome humanitarian gesture.
But if such gesture, sir, worked in the case of the two journalists, why not a similar gesture that would probably make the North Koreans think differently about their nuclear issue?
Well, I think there have been really sustained efforts to get the North Koreans to think differently about the nuclear issue, as you put it. The six-party talks process convened by China has been an important process, and it's made some progress over the years. But the North Koreans are the ones who have turned their backs on it. I don't think it's a lack of effort by the parties to the six-party talks, not least China and the United States and Japan and South Korea and Russia, who have been at fault in making the effort here.
Ambassador, what exactly did Mr. Luan say regarding the judicial control that these men are under? There are media reports out there that these three are actually roaming free, and have they been able to confirm that these men are actually under some sort of restraint?
Well, what we understand from the briefing today is that all five have been removed from their operational commands, that two are in detention, and that three are under judicial control, judicial direction, i.e., as we understand it, they are obliged to report to the authorities periodically. So that is the situation as we understand it. Clearly, there are judicial processes in train, and it's important that these continue, both in order to bring justice in these particular cases and to take an important step in addressing the problem of impunity for sexual violence in the Congo as a whole.
Can you say about this the success that the Americans released, that can you say that there is a toll, at least a toll in relation to the international community?
Well, I think you need to be a little bit careful before you draw widespread conclusions from this. I think it was entirely unnecessary for the North Koreans to have detained these two journalists in the first place, to have imprisoned them for 12 years, as I understand it, of hard labor for merely having crossed the border. The question now is we welcome their release. It's an important gesture from the North Koreans, but if they wish to build on it, there are many opportunities for them to do so. We have seen mainly deeply unhelpful behavior from the North Koreans recently, firing missiles using ballistic missile technology, a nuclear weapons test, and I think those